Okay, so get this. We're diving into the world of fashion, like from 2010 to today.
Really exciting stuff.
Yeah, and it really paints a picture of how much things have changed. Like even since 2010, it hasn't even been that long and it feels like a completely different world.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really makes you think about how we consume fashion now.
It really is crazy how much has changed, even in such a short time.
Right. Like I can barely remember what it was like to wait for a fashion magazine to come out to see the latest trends.
Oh, totally. And now everything's like instantaneous. You see it on Instagram and then
Boom, everyone's wearing it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And this research paper actually, it really zeroes in on Instagram as a major like catalyst for change.
That's so true.
Because it used to be that fashion felt really exclusive.
Oh, totally. Like you had to be in the know.
Right. But Instagram really democratized it.
Yeah.
Suddenly, anyone could be a style icon.
It's true. I remember when that shift was happening and I was thinking, wait, anyone can be a style icon now? And it's true. It totally changed the game.
It totally did.
And it created a whole new breed of trendsetters.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And you know what's interesting to me? It's not just about who's setting the trends, but it's also about how designers are getting their work out there.
Yes, totally.
It used to be all about, the one-way shows, the exclusive events.
Right, and now they're using Instagram to showcase their collection.
Exactly, and connect directly with consumers.
Yeah, it's a whole new ballgame.
It really is. And it makes you wonder, has this constant exposure to trends, fueled overconsumption?
Oh, that's a really good question. It's definitely something to think about.
Because we're constantly bombarded with images of, oh, this is what's cool, this is what you should be wearing.
It's like a never-ending cycle.
It really is. What do you think?
Well, it's a double-edged sword.
Okay, yeah.
On the one hand, Instagram has given rise to incredibly diverse style communities, which is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. And it's given consumers the power to connect with brands directly, which is huge.
Right, and you can discover new brands and designers you might never have found otherwise.
It's like the world of fashion is at your fingertips.
Exactly. But on the other hand,
There's always another hand.
it has accelerated the trend cycle.
Yeah.
What's hot today is old news tomorrow.
Yeah, and that makes it even harder to resist the pressure to keep up. Like if you're constantly seeing new things and, ugh,
And it's so easy to just click and buy.
oh my gosh, too easy.
So, yeah, I think it's definitely contributed to a culture of overconsumption.
Yeah, it's almost like the more accessible fashion becomes, the more we feel like we need to consume it. It's strange. It's like this weird paradox.
Yeah. And you know what? This is where the conversation around sustainability becomes even more important.
Yes, exactly. Because while all of this was happening, while Instagram was blowing up and fashion was becoming more accessible, the industry itself was having this environmental and ethical reckoning.
It was like a wake-up call.
It really was.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, this research paper made me think about that documentary, The True Cost. You know the one?
Oh, yeah, I've seen it. Powerful stuff.
It was intense.
Really made you think.
Yeah. But it really did spark a movement, right?
Definitely did. It was like this turning point.
It forced everyone, like consumers and the fashion industry, to really confront the dark side of fast fashion.
Absolutely. Suddenly, everyone was talking about the environmental impact, the labor practices.
Yeah, things that were, hidden before.
It wasn't just about looking good anymore. People started to care about where their clothes came from.
Exactly. And the brands, they definitely felt the pressure.
Oh, for sure. They had to respond.
Yeah.
Some out of genuine concern.
Yeah, and some maybe just to avoid being, the next headline.
Right, exactly. But either way, things started to change.
Yeah, this research paper, it highlights designers like Stella McCartney, who's always been a champion of sustainable practices.
Oh, yeah, she's amazing.
And Patagonia, they're, known for their commitment to ethical sourcing.
Been doing it for years,
Oh.
way before it was trendy.
Yeah, and now it's interesting because it's not just those high-end luxury brands anymore.
It's true.
We're seeing more and more smaller brands and even fast fashion retailers incorporating things like recycled materials and upcycling into their collections.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
becoming more mainstream.
It really is. Have you noticed that too? Just even walking down the street, looking at shop windows.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
It's everywhere now.
Yeah.
Consumers are more aware, and they're demanding transparency.
I think that's a good thing.
It is good. It's pushing the industry in the right direction.
It is. And the research paper even points to the rise of upcycling, which I think is fascinating.
Oh, yeah. Upcycling is so cool.
It's not just about using recycled materials, but actually giving existing garments a new life.
Exactly. It's like taking something old and making it new again, but in a really creative and sustainable way.
Yeah, what's old is new again, but in a whole new way. Those cool bags you see that are made out of vintage denim jackets.
Oh, yeah.
That's upcycling in action.
It's amazing what people can come up with.
I know, it's so creative. But okay, while it's super encouraging to see these shifts happening,
Sure, yeah.
I do wonder if it's enough.
That's the question.
Because there's still a lot of greenwashing out there.
Oh, tons. Brands trying to capitalize on the sustainability trend without actually making any real changes.
The worst, right? Like just slapping an eco-friendly label on something and hoping no one notices. But let's be real. True sustainability means tackling things like labor practices and overproduction, which are huge systemic issues.
Massive.
Yeah, and those are not easy fixes.
It's going to take a lot more than just using organic cotton to solve those problems.
Exactly. And that's where I think consumers have so much power.
Oh, absolutely. We vote with our wallets, right?
We do. We need to be savvy, we need to be informed, and we need to hold the industry accountable for real systemic change.
100%. Demand transparency. Do your research. Support brands that are actually walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Right, because it's more than just a trend, right? Sustainability has to be the future of fashion.
It has to be.
And it's not just about the planet. It's about the people who make our clothes, too.
Absolutely. Ethical and sustainable go hand in hand.
They do. Okay, but this research paper doesn't just talk about sustainability and Instagram. It also dives into some really interesting advancements in technology and how it's changing how we shop.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This paper goes there.
Yeah. And I feel like we've just skimmed the surface of how much technology has changed fashion. Remember when you bought something straight from Instagram for the first time? You're scrolling, you see something you like.
You're like, oh, I need that. 2 clicks later.
It's on its way.
Done.
It's so easy. And that's just the beginning. This paper really emphasizes how e-commerce and mobile shopping have made fashion accessible to basically anyone with an internet connection.
It's democratized in a whole new way. Geography is no longer a barrier. You can shop from anywhere in the world.
Exactly. But what I find really interesting is how technology is being used to personalize the shopping experience.
Oh, yeah, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, so get this. The research paper talks about AI and algorithms that analyze your style and what you're drawn to, and then can, predict what you might like.
It's like having a personal shopper in your phone.
Right. But it also makes you wonder.
A little bit, yeah.
Is it truly personalizing fashion, or are we all just data points in an algorithm? It's kind of creepy when you think about it.
It is a bit Big Brother-ish, isn't it? And this is where the ethical considerations come in.
Exactly. Because it raises all these questions about data privacy and algorithmic bias.
Right. Like, how much data are these companies collecting on us? And are these algorithms truly neutral? Or are they perpetuating existing biases?
Yeah, those are big questions, and I don't know if we have all the answers yet.
We're still figuring it out.
But one thing's for sure, technology is going to continue to shape the future of fashion in ways we can't even imagine.
Oh, absolutely. And this paper only scratches the surface. We haven't even touched on things like virtual fashion or 3D printing.
Oh my God, I know, and that's a whole other conversation.
A whole other deep dive.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's not just about how we shop, There's this whole other side to this fashion evolution that we need to talk about, like the push for diversity and inclusion.
Yes. It's about time, right?
It really is.
I remember when the industry's idea of diversity was like one model of color on a runway full of,
Right, like one token representative.
Oh, exactly. And it's like, come on. This research paper, though, it talks about how that's finally starting to change. And it's not just about racial diversity on the runways. It's about size. It's about gender identity. It's about body positivity. Like, finally, fashion is starting to represent the full spectrum of who we are,
It's about representing everyone.
Yeah.
And making everyone feel seen and included.
Exactly. Because for so long, it felt like fashion was saying, this is what's cool. This is what's beautiful. And if you don't fit into this very narrow mold, then,
You're out of luck.
Exactly. Like, you don't belong here. But I feel like now finally it's starting to shift and it's more like,
come as you are.
Yes. And let's celebrate what makes each of us unique.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because our differences are what make us interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that's reflected in the way brands are responding to this demand for diversity.
Yeah.
Like, the research actually specifically mentions Rihanna's Fenty line. Remember when that came out?
Oh my gosh, groundbreaking.
It totally disrupted the beauty industry by offering this huge range of foundation shades, like for all skin tones.
Finally. Because before that, it was like, what, 5 shades? And you were supposed to just, I don't know.
Make it work.
Exactly. But yeah, Fenty, it was a game changer. And it's not just about body image either, right?
No, totally not.
We're seeing more brands embracing gender-neutral clothing, kind of blurring the lines of what's considered masculine or feminine, which I'm here for.
Oh, 100%. I love that.
Yeah.
Clothing should be about self-expression, not about fitting into some outdated box.
Exactly. Wear what you want. Who cares? It's your life. But you know what else I thought was really interesting in this paper? Was how it talked about fashion as activism.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's a really important aspect of it.
It's always been a form of self-expression, fashion. But I feel like now, more than ever, designers are using their platforms, their voices, to make these powerful statements and really advocate for social change.
They're using their clothes to make a statement.
Exactly. And the paper even highlights designers like Kirby Jean Raymond of Pierre Moss. Have you seen his work?
Oh, yeah. He's incredible.
His collections are like walking pieces of art.
They really are. And they're so powerful, the way he uses fashion to celebrate Black history, confront social injustice. It's very moving.
Very, very powerful. And he's not alone. We're seeing more and more designers using their creativity to address issues like climate change, LGBTQ rights, body positivity.
Mental health, everything.
Everything. And what I think is so cool about it is that it doesn't feel preachy. It doesn't feel like they're trying to hit you over the head with a message. It just feels authentic, and it makes you think.
It sparks a conversation.
I believe.
And that's what's so important. It's about engaging with the world around us.
Yeah.
Using fashion as this medium to, like, get people talking.
Yeah. And to kind of challenge the status quo.
Absolutely.
It's not just a fashion statement. It's a statement, period.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got Instagram changing the game. We've got this growing awareness of sustainability, this push for diversity. We've got designers using their voices for good. Like, it's a lot. It really makes you wonder, what's next for fashion? What's the next chapter? Luckily, this paper actually gives us a little bit of a glimpse into the future, and things are about to get really wild. Like, we're talking next level.
It's true. We're already seeing glimpses of it, right? Like, even just the rise of virtual fashion shows.
Oh, totally. Remember when the pandemic hit and all of a sudden it was like...
No more physical runways.
Yeah, and everyone had to figure out this whole virtual thing.
And those early virtual shows, I mean.
They were a little rough around the edges, let's be honest.
It's a little bit, yeah.
But there was something about it, like this feeling of...
The future is now.
Exactly. And now, you know, the metaverse is blowing up.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
It's everywhere you turn, all these digital worlds popping up.
And everyone needs something to wear. So it makes sense that virtual fashion, like actually buying outfits for your online avatar...
It's becoming a thing.
It's a thing. Like, what's the point of having this super cool digital persona if they can't, like, rock an amazing outfit?
Exactly. You gotta look good in the metaverse, too.
Exactly. But, okay, beyond the metaverse, this research paper also talks about something even crazier.
Okay, what's that?
3D printing.
Oh, yeah.
3D printing is going to revolutionize the way we buy clothes.
It's going to be wild. Imagine this. You download a pattern, you tweak it to fit you perfectly.
You want to change the sleeves? Done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you just
print.
On your home 3D printer. And it sounds crazy.
It sounds like something out of a movie.
I know. But it's actually closer than we think.
That's kind of mind-blowing. And honestly, when you think about it, this technology has the potential to be so sustainable.
Oh my gosh. Totally. Because it eliminates so much waste. No more overproduction. Clothes would be made on demand just for you.
Imagine. No more sifting through racks of clothes, hoping to find your size in the color you like.
It's like the ultimate personalized shopping experience.
Right. And think about the customization. You could create one-of-a-kind pieces. You could tweak existing designs. You could be your own fashion designer.
Exactly. And if having a 3D printer at home feels a little too like Jetsons right now.
Sure, yeah.
Imagine going to a store, trying on a digital version of a garment, like using augmented reality.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. And then having it like tailored to your body and 3D printed for you within a few days.
Okay, that's seriously cool. I'm not going to lie, that is the future. It's like the ultimate blend of personalization and sustainability.
It really is. But like with any new technology, you know.
There are always challenges.
Exactly. It's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows.
Right. Like, where do we get the materials for all this 3D printing? Are they sustainable? What about the energy consumption of all these printers?
Huge questions.
Yeah, we can't just assume that new technology automatically equals a better future.
Exactly. We have to be mindful. We have to ask the tough questions. We have to work to mitigate the potential downsides.
Totally. It's like this paper has shown us that fashion is always evolving, right? From the way we shop to the way we think about clothes. It's like this constantly moving target.
It's a reflection of us.
It really is a reflection of us and the world around us.
Exactly. And, what I think is so cool about this deep dive is that it's shown us that fashion, it's so much more than just trends. It's more than aesthetics.
It's a powerful tool for self-expression.
Absolutely. It's a platform for social change. It's a window into the future. And hopefully what you take away from this deep dive is that you have the power to shape that future.
That's what we want you to take away from this, because ultimately what you choose to wear, where you buy it, who you support, it all has an impact.
Your choices matter. So the next time you're scrolling through Instagram or you're shopping for clothes online, or even if you're just like standing in your closet, take a moment and think, what kind of fashion future do I want to be a part of?
That's the question.